Hello everyone, this is Yana Smakula here at Spellbinders, and thank you for joining me today. This is the second episode of a new video series I'm hosting on Spellbinders vlog and YouTube channel called Shaped Cards with Spellbinders. Once a month, I'm sharing a card and a video tutorial featuring a shaped card base using Spellbinders dies. I'm using the following dies to create this project: lunette arched borders, hemstitch ovals, and Belarus Lattice layering frame die set. Let's start working on this card by creating a card base. I'm going to use the largest die from the Belarus Lattice layering frame large set. This die measures 5 by 7 inches, so it makes a full 5 by 7 card. There are several ways to create a shaped card base. In my previous episode, I was using an outer frame die, so not a detail die, and was able to cut through a piece of cardstock folded in half to create a base. Today, since I'm using a much more detailed die for my card base, I'm taking a slightly different approach. To create my card base, I'm going to cut 2 identical pieces, score one, and use glue to adhere them to create a base. Because I need my die cut and my card base to be sturdy, I'm going to use 110-pound white cardstock. Because this is an intricate die, and because of how thick of cardstock I'm using, it will be a little bit difficult to cut through it in a single pass. But running the die through my platinum die cutting machine a few times should cut no problem. I always like to tape my dies down with some sort of low-tack tape to make sure the die will not move on my paper, especially when I go to die cut the second and third time. This really helps a lot and eliminates frustration. So here I die cut 2 panels and I dry embossed one of them, the front panel. You can also emboss the second one, but since it's going to be on the back, it will make the back of my card base, I didn't feel I needed to emboss it. Now let's score the non-embossed die cut to make the hinge for the card base. I'm using my scoring board for this and a bone folder. I decided to score this at about 1.5 inches from the top. This gives me plenty of space to add glue and adhere my die cuts together. You can choose to set less space for glue, maybe just 1 inch or 1/2 inch, but seeing how detailed this die is, I decided I needed more space to make sure my card base would be really sturdy. So here's what the back piece now looks like. I'm going to use glue, and we'll only add it to the top part, and we'll adhere the 2 pieces together to create a top folding card base. Set something heavy on top of it for a few minutes to let the glue dry. So here's what the card base now looks like. It's a full-size 5 by 7 top folding card that stands on its own. There's space on the inside of the card to write a personalized message, and space on the back too. Now let's work on decorating this project. I already know what I want to do, so I'm going to die cut a number of layers out of gold foil and colored cardstock to layer onto the front of the card. I rarely decorate the inside or the back, but these can be easily embellished using some of the same designs I'm using for the front. I picked an oval insert die and cat's eye insert and cut a shape out of gold foil cardstock. I want to add decorative inserts on both sides of this paper, but I'm not using the ones that come with this die set. I picked lattice inserts from another die set that is meant to work with the main set. So these come from the lunette arched borders die set from Becca Feekin. And if you're ever looking for a list of supplies I used for any of my cards, please check video description and/or blog post associated with the video for a full list of supplies I used. After I cut the inserts out, I will remove the outer frame and I'm going to emboss just the inserts in this die cut piece. These will create a nice embossed border around the lattice die cutting. I'm also die cutting an oval out of blue cardstock to layer under the gold die cut. I will foam mount the gold piece later, and it will create a really nice dimensional effect. Another piece I need is a cat eye insert cut on its own out of white cardstock. We have a few more pieces to cut. First, I'm cutting the hemstitch ovals, the medium oval and the hemstitch details out of gold foil cardstock. I also want to emboss this, but I'm only embossing the hemstitch detail without the outer oval die. Next, die cutting and embossing a little decorative tag out of gold foil cardstock and finally die cutting a small oval using small hem-stitch oval dies. Now let's start putting our card together. I believe that the key to creating beautiful layered projects with Spellbinders dies is using foam adhesive. I love to pop a lot of my die cuts up as this helps separate them from the background, adds some shadow to them, and makes them more prominent on my finished project. You'll also notice I opted not to use any pattern paper for this card. I went with gold foil cardstock, which is gorgeous on its own, and light blue cardstock. I do love to use pattern paper for my projects, but I prefer to use simple and calm patterns. I stay away from anything that is too busy or patterns where elements are too big. I used foam adhesive squares to foam mount gold oval element onto the blue oval piece. I had to cut the foam squares into narrow strips to make sure they wouldn't be visible under the die cut. Next, I adhered my element onto the card using tape and foam mounted white cat eye insert. Next, I foam mounted both of the hem-stitch ovals and adhered the last decorative insert with tape. I shaped it with fingers to make it a little bit more dimensional. A card like this can work for many different occasions. I decided to make one for a birthday and added a simple "It's Your Birthday" sentiment stamped in black ink. I thought about heat embossing it in gold, but I decided not to as I already have too much gold present on this project. All I have to do now is create a bow. For this, I'm using light blue grosgrain ribbon, gold thread, and a pearl brad. I'm going to loop the ribbon to form a bow. We'll add another piece of ribbon underneath, and to form it into a neatly tied bow, I'm going to pinch it in the center with my fingers and almost pleat it in a way. I'm not going to use the same ribbon to tie a knot, but will instead use gold thread to wrap around the bow and secure my ribbon in place. Just tying this into a double knot and cutting the excess off. Finally, I'm going to embellish this bow with a beautiful pearl brad. Cut ends into a V shape and adhere onto the card. And our project is finished. I hope you've enjoyed the second episode from my Shaped Cards with Spellbinders video series. Be sure to hit thumbs up and share this video with your crafty friends. If you have any questions about this card, please leave them in a comment section below. And be sure to subscribe to Spellbinders' YouTube channel for more education and inspiration. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.